Disappear for 6 months full audiobook. Introduction. You are not happy with where you are right now. I know this because you are here listening to this. You feel stuck in a loop. You wake up, you check your phone, you go to a job that drains you, you come home, you scroll through social media and you go to sleep. Then you do it all again. You have big dreams and you know you are capable of more, but weeks turn into months and months turn into years and nothing changes. You are running on a treadmill. You are moving fast and sweating hard, but you are not going anywhere. The only way to change your trajectory is not to take small, incremental steps. It is to step off the treadmill entirely. It is time to disappear. This is not about running away from your problems. It is about strategic withdrawal. It is about removing yourself from the noise of the world so you can finally hear your own voice. Give me 6 months of your life. Just 6 months of total focus and isolation. If you do this, I promise you will return as a completely different person. You will recognize the stranger in the mirror, but the world will not. Before we begin, I have a question for you. I want you to be honest with yourself and with everyone else listening. In the comment section below, I want you to answer this simple question. What is the one biggest distraction in your life right now that you know you need to cut out? Is it video games? Is it a toxic relationship? Is it alcohol? Is it your phone? Deeply think about it and write it down in the comments. By writing it down, you are making a contract with yourself to change it. Chapter 1. The Architecture of Isolation. You have been lied to. Society tells you that to be successful, you need to be everywhere. You need to be networking. You need to be at every party. You need to be posting on social media 3 times a day. You need to be available. This is a lie. The most powerful people in history, the greatest artists, the wealthiest entrepreneurs, and the strongest leaders all share one secret habit. They disappear. They step away from the world to build something great, and then they return. You are currently in a phase of your life where you feel like nothing is happening. You feel like you are working hard but seeing no results. You need to understand the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. This is a real phenomenon in nature. When you plant the seed of a Chinese bamboo tree, nothing happens. You water it, you fertilize the soil, and you make sure it gets sunlight. You do this for a whole year and you see nothing. No sprout, no green leaf, just dirt. You do it for a 2nd year, still nothing. You do it for a 3rd year and a 4th year. Most people would quit by now. They would look at the empty soil and say that the seed is dead. They would say it is a waste of time. But if you keep watering it, something incredible happens in the 5th year. In the 5th year, the tree breaks through the ground, and once it breaks through, it does not just grow a few inches. In just 6 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. That is the height of a 9-story building. Here is the question you must ask yourself. Did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer is 5 years. If the farmer had stopped watering it at any point during those first 4 years, the tree would have died in the ground. For those 5 years, the tree was growing massive roots. It was building a foundation underground that was strong enough to support 90 feet of weight. Without those roots, the tree would collapse under its own weight as soon as it started to grow. You are that tree. Right now, you are in your root phase. You are underground. No one can see your growth. Your friends think you are doing nothing. Your family worries about you. Society judges you. But you are building the roots. This is why you must disappear. You cannot build deep roots if you are constantly being pulled up to the surface to check your likes or go to a club. You need isolation. Isolation is not the same thing as loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of sadness because you have no one. Isolation is a choice. It is a powerful tool. When you are surrounded by people, you are constantly reacting to them. You laugh at their jokes even if they are not funny. You agree with their opinions to avoid conflict. You dress a certain way to fit in. You are a chameleon. You change your colors to match your environment. This is exhausting. It takes so much energy to maintain this mask. When you are alone, the mask falls off. You stop pretending. For the first time, you are left with your own thoughts. This is scary for many people. Most people are terrified of silence. That is why they put on music as soon as they get in the car. That is why they turn on the TV as soon as they get home. They are afraid of what they will hear if the noise stops. But you must face the silence. In that silence, you will find out who you actually are and what you actually want. Let us look at the biology of your brain. Your brain has two modes. There is a focused mode, where you are doing a task, and there is a default mode. The default mode activates when you are not doing anything specific. This is when you are daydreaming or just staring at a wall. Modern science tells us that this default mode is where creativity happens. It is where you solve complex problems. But in the modern world, we never let our brains go into this mode. We fill every second with stimulation. If you are standing in line at the grocery store for 30 seconds, you pull out your phone. If you are waiting for a red light, you check your notifications. You are starving your brain of the downtime it needs to grow. When you disappear for 6 months, you are forcing your brain to reset. You are going to be bored. I want to warn you about this right now. You will be incredibly bored. And that is a good thing. Boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the signal that your brain is searching for stimulation. If you do not give it cheap stimulation like video games or social media, your brain will create its own stimulation. This is where new ideas come from. This is where the motivation to work comes from. You will find yourself wanting to write, wanting to exercise, wanting to build, just to escape the boredom. However, disappearing is not easy because the world does not want you to disappear. This brings us to a concept called the crab bucket theory. This is based on real behavior observed in crabs. If you put a single crab in a bucket, it can easily climb out and escape. But if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, something disturbing happens. If one crab tries to climb out, the other crabs will reach up and pull it back down. They will physically drag it back into the misery of the bucket. If the crab keeps trying to escape, the others might even injure it or kill it. Human beings are exactly the same. When you start to improve yourself, when you start to disappear to work on your goals, you are that crab trying to climb out. The people around you are the other crabs. They are not pulling you down because they are evil. They are pulling you down because your success makes them feel insecure. If you escape the bucket, it proves that they could have escaped too, but they were too lazy or too scared to try. It is much easier for them to keep you in the bucket so they do not have to feel bad about themselves. You will hear things like this. Why are you acting so weird lately? You never come out anymore. You are obsessed with work. You need to relax. Come have just one drink. It won't hurt. These are the claws of the crabs pulling you down. To disappear for 6 months, you must be ruthless. You have to cut the rope. This is the hardest part of the process. You have to look at your circle of friends and ask yourself a hard question. Do these people inspire me or do they drain me? If they drain you, you have to distance yourself. You do not need to make a big dramatic scene. You do not need to call them and scream that you are leaving. You just fade away. You stop saying yes. You need a script for this. When people ask you to go out, you need a standard answer that shuts down the conversation without being rude. You can say something like this. I am really focused on a big project right now and I need to lock in for the next few months, so I won't be around much. I will catch up with you when I am done. That is it. If they are real friends, they will respect your hustle. They will say, okay, good luck. If they are crabs, they will try to make you feel guilty. They will call you boring. Ignore them. Their opinion does not pay your bills. Their opinion does not build your future. You are building a life that they can only dream of, and that requires doing things they are afraid to do. Now let us talk about the environment of isolation. You cannot disappear if your physical space is chaotic. You need to create a bunker. This is your base of operations. It might be your bedroom, your office, or even a corner of your living room. It needs to be clean. This sounds simple, but it is psychological. A messy room equals a messy mind. If your desk is covered in trash and old papers, your brain is constantly processing that visual clutter. It creates low-level anxiety. Clean it up. Make it empty. You want your environment to be boring. Remember, we want to induce boredom so your brain is forced to work. Remove the TV from your room. Remove the video game console. If possible, leave your phone in another room when you are working. There is a study about the mere presence of smartphones. Researchers found that even if your phone is turned off and face down on the desk, it still reduces your cognitive capacity. Your brain has to use a small amount of energy to actively ignore the phone. It is like having a person sitting next to you staring at you while you work. Even if you ignore them, you know they are there. When you put the phone in another room, your brain releases that tension. You gain back that mental energy. You need every ounce of mental energy for the next 6 months. You also need to set rules for your isolation. Disappearing does not mean you sleep all day. It requires more discipline than a normal life. You are the CEO, the manager, and the employee of your life. If the employee is lazy, the manager needs to fire him. You need a schedule. You are not just sitting in a room thinking, you are working. We will talk about the specific work in later chapters, but right now you need to understand the mindset of the monk. Monks live in isolation for years. They do not go crazy. Why? Because they have a routine. They wake up at the same time. They clean at the same time. They meditate at the same time. Routine is the skeleton that holds your isolation together. Without a routine, you will dissolve into depression. You will start waking up at noon. You will start eating junk food. You will lose the plot. You must treat this 6 months like a military deployment. You are on a mission. Let me tell you about the concept of the mirror test. This is a powerful visualization. Imagine it is 6 months from now. The time has passed. You stepped out of your house. You walk into a room full of the people who doubted you. You walk in, and you look physically different. You are in the best shape of your life. You carry yourself with a different energy. You are calm. You are confident. You have launched that business. You have written that book. You have learned that language. You look them in the eye and you see the respect on their faces. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine 6 months have passed and you did nothing. You watched Netflix, you scrolled TikTok, you ate pizza. You walk into that same room, you look exactly the same, you feel the same shame. You have the same complaints. Which version of the future do you want? The time will pass anyway. That is the scariest truth of life. 6 months is going to go by whether you work hard or do nothing. You cannot stop the clock. The only variable you can control is what you do with the time. During this isolation, you will face the demon of doubt. This is inevitable. About 2 or 3 weeks into your disappearance, the excitement will wear off. The motivation you feel right now while listening to this will be gone. You will be alone in your room. It will be quiet. And a voice in your head will say, "This is stupid. Why are you doing this? Everyone else is having fun. You are missing out. You will never succeed anyway." This voice is your old self fighting for survival. Your old self does not want to die. It wants to keep you comfortable. It wants to keep you safe and small. You must recognize this voice not as the truth, but as a biological reaction to change. Your brain hates change. Change costs energy. Your brain wants to save energy. When you hear that voice, do not argue with it. Just observe it. Say to yourself, there is the doubt. I was expecting this. And then get back to work. You must also understand the power of information diet. What you consume consumes you. If you are disappearing from people, but still consuming the same garbage content on the internet, you are not really isolated. You are just physically alone while your mind is swimming in the sewer of the internet. You need to cut the digital cord. Unfollow everyone who does not educate you or inspire you. If an account makes you feel jealous, unfollow. If an account posts useless drama or celebrity gossip, unfollow. Your feed should be a university. It should be a library. During these 6 months, you are only allowed to consume content that helps you reach your goal. If you're trying to learn marketing, only watch marketing videos. If you're trying to get fit, only watch fitness content. Everything else is a distraction. You have to guard your mind like a fortress. If you let the enemy inside the gates, you have already lost. Let's talk about the concept of high agency. High agency is a term used to describe people who do not wait for things to happen to them. They force things to happen. Low agency people are victims. They say, "I can't do this because I don't have money. I can't do this because my parents didn't teach me. I can't do this because the economy is bad." High agency people look at the same problems and say, "I don't have money, so I will find a way to make it. I don't know how, so I will learn." When you disappear, you are building high agency. There is no one to help you. There is no one to blame. If you fail, it is your fault. If you succeed, it is your credit. This is empowering. It gives you full control. You stop looking for a savior. You realize that you are the savior. Think about the butterfly. The butterfly starts as a caterpillar. A caterpillar is slow. It is vulnerable. It just eats and crawls. Then it wraps itself in a cocoon. The cocoon is isolation. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar literally dissolves. It turns into a soup of cells. It falls apart completely. it destroys its old self. And then, from that soup, it reassembles itself into something that can fly. If you opened the cocoon halfway through the process, you would kill it. You cannot rush the process. You are entering your cocoon phase. You are going to dissolve your old identity. The person who was lazy, the person who was shy, the person who was addicted to their phone, that person is going to dissolve. And in 6 months, you will emerge with wings. But you have to stay in the cocoon. You have to endure the darkness. This chapter is the foundation. It is the permission slip you have been waiting for. You have permission to say no. You have permission to be selfish. In fact, being selfish right now is the most generous thing you can do. If you fix yourself, you become a better human for everyone around you. You become a better son, a better father, a better friend. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. Right now, your cup is empty. You need to go away and fill it up. So here is your first action step. It is very simple but very scary. I want you to look at your calendar for the next week. Look at every obligation you have, every meeting, every coffee date, every party. Ask yourself, is this essential for my survival or my major goal? If the answer is no, cancel it. Send the text. Make the call. Clear the board. You need open space. You need emptiness. You cannot build a new building until you demolish the old one. Start the demolition today. Do not wait for Monday. Do not wait for the first of the month. Do it now. The sooner you start, the sooner you finish. This is the architecture of isolation. You are building a wall around yourself, not to keep the world out, but to protect the fragile growth happening inside. Build the wall high. Build it strong. And do not let anyone climb over it until you are ready. Now that we have established the philosophy of why you need to be alone, and we have looked at the biological and social reasons for isolation, we need to prepare for the withdrawal. You are about to go through a detox. This is not just a metaphor. Your brain is chemically addicted to your current lifestyle. When you stop, it is going to hurt. In the next chapter, we will discuss exactly what is happening to your brain chemistry and how to survive the first 2 weeks of hell. This is where most people fail. They understand the idea of isolation, but they cannot handle the chemical crash. You will not be one of those people because you will be prepared. Chapter 2. The dopamine detox. You are an addict. You might not be injecting drugs or drinking whiskey every morning, but make no mistake, you are a heavy user. Your drug of choice is dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in your brain. It is often called the pleasure molecule, but that is not entirely accurate. Dopamine is actually the molecule of desire. It is the chemical that drives you to seek things. In the wild, this was useful. It motivated our ancestors to find food, to find a mate, to build shelter. It was a survival mechanism. When you found berries, you got a spike of dopamine which made you feel good and remember where the berries were. It was a reward system for doing hard work. But today, that system has been hijacked. You live in a world of superstimuli. A candy bar is a superstimulus. It has more sugar than our ancestors found in a lifetime. Video games are a superstimulus. They provide the feeling of achievement and victory without any physical effort. Social media is the ultimate superstimulus. It provides social validation and novelty every time you swipe your finger. Every time you see a like, every time you see a funny video, your brain gets a hit of dopamine. It is a quick, cheap spike. And what goes up must come down. After the spike, your dopamine levels drop below your baseline. This is the crash. This is why you feel empty and anxious after scrolling on TikTok for an hour. You are in a dopamine deficit. Here is the problem. Your brain adapts. If you constantly flood it with cheap dopamine, your brain reduces the number of dopamine receptors to protect itself. This is called downregulation. It is the same reason a drug addict needs more and more of the drug to get the same high. You have downregulated your brain so much that normal difficult tasks feel impossible. Reading a book feels boring because it does not give you a dopamine spike every 3 seconds. Working on your business feels painful because the reward is delayed, not instant. You have trained your brain to only want the easy stuff. You have become allergic to effort. The goal of the next 6 months is to reset your dopamine baseline. We need to heal your receptors so that hard work feels good again. We need to make boring things fun. This is called a dopamine detox. It is not about removing all pleasure from your life. It is about removing the sources of artificial, cheap dopamine so that your brain can recover. The first 2 weeks of your disappearance will be the hardest. This is the withdrawal phase. When you cut out the social media, the junk food, and the mindless entertainment, your brain is going to scream. It will panic. It is used to that constant flow of chemicals, and suddenly it is dry. You will feel irritable. You will feel restless. You will have headaches. You will feel a deep sense of boredom that feels almost like physical pain. You need to know this is coming, so you do not quit. When you feel this pain, I want you to smile. Because that pain is the feeling of your brain healing. It is the feeling of weakness leaving the body. We need to set up the rules for this detox. First, we need to talk about your phone. Your phone is a slot machine in your pocket. It is designed by the smartest engineers in the world to keep you addicted. They use the same psychology as casinos. The colors, the sounds, the variable rewards. It is all a trap. You need to break the loop. Step 1 is to turn your phone into a tool, not a toy. Go into your settings and turn on grayscale. This makes your screen black and white. It sounds silly, but it works. Without the bright red notifications and the colorful icons, your brain is less stimulated. The phone becomes boring. It becomes just a utility. Step 2 is the do not disturb lifestyle. Most people live in a reactive state. The phone dings and they jump. They are like a dog trained to a whistle. You are not a dog. You are a master of your reality. Keep your phone on Do Not Disturb 24/7. This does not mean you never check it. It means you check it on your terms. Set specific times to check messages. Maybe once at 12 p.m. and once at 6 p.m. If someone calls you, let it go to voicemail. Call them back when you are ready. You must regain sovereignty over your attention. Your attention is your currency. If you give it away to every app notification, you are bankrupt. Step 3 is to eliminate the cheap pleasures. No video games, no pornography, no sugary drinks. No fast food. These are the things that spike your dopamine for zero effort. We want to replace these with high-friction rewards. A high-friction reward is something that makes you feel good, but requires effort first. For example, lifting weights. It is hard. It is heavy. You sweat. It hurts. But afterwards, you feel amazing. That is a natural dopamine release. Reading a complex book is high friction. You have to focus. You have to think. But when you learn something new, you feel a sense of satisfaction. That is healthy dopamine. During these 6 months, you are only allowed to get dopamine from high-friction activities. You have to earn your happiness. This is a fundamental law of the universe. Easy pleasures lead to a hard life. Hard pleasures lead to an easy life. If you choose the easy dopamine now, you will be depressed later. If you choose the hard work now, you will be happy later. Let's talk about the concept of monk mode. This is a popular term in the self-improvement community, but we are going to define it strictly. Monk mode means living with a singular focus. When a monk sweeps the floor, he is only sweeping the floor. He is not listening to a podcast. He is not thinking about dinner. He is fully present. This is called mindfulness, but I prefer to call it focus training. Your attention span is a muscle. Right now, your muscle is weak and flabby. You cannot hold a thought for more than 15 seconds without looking for a distraction. We need to train this muscle. Every day during your 6 months, you will practice doing one thing at a time. When you eat, just eat. Do not watch YouTube while you eat. Taste the food. When you walk, just walk. Do not listen to music. Look at the trees. Feel the ground. This sounds boring, but remember, boredom is the cure. By depriving your brain of constant input, you sensitize it. After a few weeks of this, you will notice something amazing. The world becomes sharper. Colors look brighter. Food tastes better. You will find that you can sit down and read a book for 2 hours without getting an itch to check your phone. You are healing. There is a powerful technique you can use called urge surfing. When you are in isolation, you will get sudden urges to break your rules. You will have a sudden urge to check Instagram. You will have a sudden urge to eat a cookie. Most people try to fight the urge. They grit their teeth and say, no, no, no. But fighting it takes energy, and eventually you run out of energy and give in. Instead of fighting, I want you to surf the urge. Imagine the urge is a wave in the ocean. It starts small, it gets bigger and higher, it reaches a peak, and then it crashes and fades away. No wave lasts forever. Every urge is temporary. When the feeling hits you, stop. Close your eyes. Observe the feeling in your body. Where do you feel it? Is it a tightness in your chest? Is it a tingling in your hands? Name it. Say, I am feeling an urge to check my phone. Don't judge it. Just watch it. Breathe through it. Wait for the wave to peak. Wait for it to crash. Usually, an urge only lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. If you can surf that 10-minute wave, you win. The urge will disappear, and you will be back in control. Every time you surf a wave, you get stronger. Every time you give in, you get weaker. You also need to understand the connection between dopamine and your goals. Dopamine is the fuel for pursuit. If you waste your fuel on video games, you have no fuel left for your business or your fitness. You wonder why you are lazy. You are not lazy. You are just out of fuel. You spent it all on fake achievements in a virtual world. When you cut off the fake sources, that fuel starts to build up in your tank. You will wake up in the morning with a strange feeling. You will feel a drive to do something productive. You will look at your work and feel a pull towards it. That is the natural state of a human being. Humans are designed to work. We are designed to build. We are designed to hunt. Depression often comes from a lack of purpose and a lack of movement. By detoxing your dopamine, you unlock your natural drive. Let's discuss the Goldilocks rule. This is important for keeping your dopamine flowing correctly during your work. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. If a task is too hard, you get anxious and give up. If it is too easy, you get bored. You need to structure your 6 months so that you are constantly challenging yourself just enough. If you are learning to code, do not start with the hardest project. Start with something you can do, but that requires focus. Then, make it a little harder. This constant progression keeps the dopamine flowing. It is the same with the gym. You add a little bit of weight each week. This progress is addictive. It is a healthy addiction. You want to get addicted to your own growth. In the next chapter, we will talk about what to actually do with all this focus you are building. It is not enough to just sit in a room and be detoxed. You need to direct that energy towards a massive goal. We are going to talk about deep work and the skill stack. But for now, your mission is the detox. Clean your brain, embrace the boredom, fight the urges, prepare the vessel. The real work is about to begin. Chapter 3. Deep work and the skill stack. You have built the walls of your fortress in Chapter 1. You have cleaned your brain of the toxic chemicals in Chapter 2. Now you are standing in an empty room with a clear mind and a lot of time. This is the moment where most people get scared. They have removed the distractions, but they do not know what to put in the void. If you do not fill this void with meaningful action, the distractions will creep back in. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you do not plant flowers, weeds will grow. This chapter is about planting the flowers. It is about the specific, tactical work you will do for the next 6 months to change your economic and social value. We need to redefine what you think work is. Most people think work is sitting at a desk for 8 hours. They think work is answering emails. They think work is sitting in meetings. This is not work. This is busy movement. This is shallow activity. You can be busy for 10 years and produce nothing of value. You can sweat and run in circles and end up exactly where you started. We are not interested in being busy. We are interested in being productive. There is a massive difference. Being busy is about filling time. Being productive is about producing a result. During these 6 months, you are going to learn the art of deep work. Deep work is a concept that is becoming rare in our modern world. It is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It is the ability to master complicated information in a short amount of time. It is the ability to produce better results in less time. Think about the last time you really focused. I mean really focused. No phone, no music, no people. Just you and a difficult problem. For most people, this hasn't happened in years. They work with their email tab open. They work with their phone on the desk. Every 5 minutes they get a notification and they look away. Science tells us that multitasking is a lie. Your brain cannot do 2 things at once. It can only switch between tasks very quickly. But there is a cost to this switching. It is called attention residue. When you switch from writing a report to checking an email, your brain does not instantly switch 100% of its resources. A part of your attention remains stuck on the report. When you switch back to the report, a part of your attention is stuck on the email. You are constantly leaking mental energy. You are working with half a brain. This is why you feel exhausted at the end of the day, even if you didn't accomplish much. You burned all your glucose on switching tasks, not on doing the work. In your 6 months of disappearance, you are going to practice monotasking. You are going to do one thing at a time with ferocious intensity. This is the secret weapon of the elite. While your competition is scrolling through TikTok and trying to work at the same time, you will be in a state of pure focus. 1 hour of your deep work is worth 8 hours of their shallow work. This is how you catch up. This is how you overtake people who have been in the game longer than you. They are walking, you are sprinting. Before you start sprinting, you need to know where you are going. You cannot do everything in 6 months. You cannot learn to speak Japanese, start a dropshipping business, train for a marathon and learn to play the violin all at the same time. If you try to chase 5 rabbits, you will catch none. You must choose one major professional goal for this isolation period. This is called the one thing. You need to look at your life and ask yourself, what is the one skill or project that, if I completed it, would make the biggest difference in my life? Maybe it is learning to code. Maybe it is writing a book. Maybe it is building a sales funnel. Whatever it is, it must be the priority. Everything else is secondary. You have to be ruthless about this. You have to say no to good ideas so you can focus on the great idea. This is the sniper approach. A shotgun sprays pellets everywhere and hits nothing hard. A sniper rifle fires 1 bullet and hits the target with maximum impact. Be the sniper. Let us talk about the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. This was discovered by an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto. He noticed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. He looked at his garden and noticed that 80% of the peas came from 20% of the pods. This rule applies to almost everything in life. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. 80% of your happiness comes from 20% of your friends. 80% of a business's revenue comes from 20% of its customers. Most people waste their time on the 80% of activities that only bring 20% of the results. They spend hours designing a logo for their business instead of making sales calls. The logo is the 80% work. It feels like work, but it doesn't bring money. The sales call is the 20% work. It is scary and hard, but it brings the result. During your isolation, you must identify the 20% of tasks that actually move the needle. If you are learning a language, do not waste time on obscure grammar rules that no one uses. Focus on the 1,000 most common words. That is the 20% that gives you 80% of fluency. If you are getting in shape, do not waste time on fancy isolation exercises for your forearms. Focus on the compound lifts like squats and deadlifts. That is the 20% that builds the muscle. You have to be an essentialist. You have to cut the fat and focus on the meat. Now let's discuss the state of mind you need to be in. It is called the flow state. You might have heard of it as being in the zone. Athletes know this feeling. Musicians know this feeling. It is a mental state where the self vanishes. Time distorts. You look at the clock and it is 1 p.m. You look again and it is 4 p.m. You don't feel hungry, you don't feel tired. You are completely immersed in the task. This is the most productive state a human being can be in. In a flow state, your brain releases a cocktail of powerful chemicals: norepinephrine, dopamine, anandamide, serotonin, and endorphins. These chemicals enhance your pattern recognition, your creativity, and your learning speed. The problem is that you cannot just snap your fingers and enter a flow state. There is a struggle phase. This is what stops most people. When you first sit down to do deep work, it is painful. Your brain resists. It wants to be lazy. You feel agitated. You feel like you can't focus. This is the barrier. Most people hit this barrier after 5 minutes and quit. They pick up their phone to relieve the tension. But if you push through this struggle phase, usually about 15 to 20 minutes, you break through to the other side. You enter the flow. You need to structure your environment to trigger flow. Flow requires clear goals. You need to know exactly what you are trying to do in this session. Flow requires immediate feedback. You need to know if you are doing it right or wrong, and most importantly, flow requires a balance between challenge and skill. If the task is too easy, you won't enter flow. If it is too hard, you will get anxious. You need to find the sweet spot where you are stretched just beyond your current ability. This brings us to the concept of the skill stack. This is an idea popularized by Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. He realized that becoming the very best in the world at one specific thing is extremely difficult. It is near impossible to be the #1 basketball player or the #1 writer. The odds are against you. But it is actually quite easy to become the top 25% in something. And if you can be in the top 25% of 2 different things, and you combine them, you become a rarity. Let me give you an example. There are millions of good writers. There are millions of people who understand finance. But there are very few people who are good writers and understand finance. If you combine those 2 skills, you can become a financial copywriter or a financial journalist, and you can make a fortune. You don't have to be the best writer, and you don't have to be the best investor. You just have to be good at both. This is the power of the skill stack. During your 6 months, I don't want you to just learn one thing. I want you to look for a combination. Look for a synergy. If you are a programmer, don't just learn more code. Learn public speaking. A programmer who can code is an employee. A programmer who can code and speak on stage is a CTO or a founder. If you are a fitness trainer, don't just learn more exercises. Learn video editing. A trainer who can edit their own content becomes an online influencer. The value is not in the isolated skill. The value is in the intersection. You are building a unique character. In video games, you have different stats. Strength, intelligence, charisma. You are building your stats. You are creating a character that the marketplace has never seen before. This is how you become irreplaceable. If you are just a generic worker, you can be replaced by anyone or by AI. But if you have a unique stack of skills, you have leverage. Now, let's talk about the biology of focus. You might think that because you are disappearing for 6 months, you should work 16 hours a day. This is a mistake. Your brain is a biological machine. It has limits. Studies on world-class violinists and chess players show that the human brain can only handle about 4 hours of intense deep work per day. After 4 hours, the quality drops. You start making mistakes. You start moving slower. This is good news. It means you don't have to kill yourself. You just need 4 perfect hours. The rest of the day is for maintenance and recovery. You should schedule your 4 hours of deep work for the time of day when you are most alert. For most people, this is the morning. Wake up, hydrate, and go straight into your deep work. Do not check your phone. Do not check your email. Use your freshest brain energy for your hardest problem. This is called eating the frog. If you have to eat a live frog, it is best to do it first thing in the morning so you don't have to think about it all day. Do the hard thing first. After your 4 hours of deep work, you can do shallow work. This is when you answer emails, clean your house, do your laundry, or read. This structure prevents burnout. You are not trying to be a robot. You are trying to be an elite athlete of the mind. Athletes rest as hard as they train. You need to sleep 8 hours. You need to walk outside. You need to let your subconscious mind process the information you learned during your deep work session. There is a trap I need to warn you about. It is the trap of learning versus doing. It is very easy to spend 6 months watching tutorials. You can watch 100 hours of videos on how to code. You can read 50 books on how to start a business. And at the end of 6 months, you will feel like you learned a lot, but you will have achieved nothing. This is the difference between passive motion and active action. Motion is planning. Motion is strategizing. Motion is learning. It feels like progress, but it produces no result. Action is the behavior that delivers an outcome. Sending an email to a client is action. Writing a line of code is action. Publishing a video is action. You need to be biased towards action. Do not just read about it. Do it. If you are learning to write, do not just read books on writing. Write 500 words every day. If you are learning to sell, do not just watch sales videos. Pick up the phone and call someone. You will fail. You will be bad at it. That is the point. You learn more from 1 hour of doing than from 10 hours of watching. You must build a project. Do not just learn in a vacuum. Give yourself a concrete mission. If you're learning video editing, your mission is to create a 10-minute documentary by the end of the month. If you are learning marketing, your mission is to sell one item on the internet. Having a project forces you to learn the things that actually matter. It filters out the noise. When you have a problem you need to solve for your project, you look for the specific answer. This is just-in-time learning, which is far superior to just-in-case learning. Let's discuss the physical environment of your deep work again. We touched on this in Chapter 1, but now we need to be specific. You need a trigger. A trigger is a physical action that tells your brain it is time to focus. Maybe it is making a cup of black coffee. Maybe it is putting on a specific pair of headphones. Maybe it is lighting a candle. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you do it every single time before you work. Over time, your brain will associate that trigger with deep focus. As soon as you smell the coffee or put on the headphones, your brain will shift gears. It is a Pavlovian response. You are conditioning yourself for success. You should also use music strategically. Lyrics are distracting. They occupy the language centers of your brain. You should listen to instrumental music, classical music, lo-fi beats, or video game soundtracks. Video game soundtracks are actually designed to keep you focused and moving forward without being distracting. Use them. Put on a pair of noise-canceling headphones. Create a bubble of silence around you. The world outside does not exist. The only thing that exists is the task in front of you. During these 6 months, you will have days where you simply cannot focus. You will sit down and your brain will feel like fog. You will stare at the screen and nothing will happen. This is normal. Do not panic. Do not beat yourself up. On these days, you lower the bar. Tell yourself, I will just work for 10 minutes. Anyone can do 10 minutes. Usually, once you start, the momentum will carry you forward. If it doesn't and you really are stuck, then switch to a lower intensity task. Read a book related to your field. Organize your files. Do something that keeps you moving forward, even if it is slow. The only thing you are not allowed to do is quit. You are not allowed to go back to the cheap dopamine. You are not allowed to open the video game. You stay in the boredom. You stay in the struggle. This process is going to change the physical structure of your brain. It is called myelination. Every time you focus intensely on a specific skill, your brain wraps layers of myelin around the neural circuits related to that skill. Myelin is like the insulation on an electrical wire. It makes the signal travel faster and stronger. The more you practice deep work, the more myelin you build. This is what talent actually is. Talent is not magic. Talent is just a lot of myelin. By the end of 6 months, you will have built a superhighway in your brain. Things that are hard for you now will become easy. You will be able to do them without thinking. You will have mastery. But you have to pay the price. The price is the discomfort of the deep work. The price is the isolation. The price is the mental energy. Most people are not willing to pay this price. They want the result without the work. They want to be rich without the risk. They want to be fit without the sweat. This is why they are average. You are not average. You are listening to this because you want to be exceptional. Exceptional results require exceptional effort. Let's break down the mechanics of a perfect deep work session. First, define the goal. Write it down on a piece of paper. In the next 90 minutes, I will write 1,000 words of my book. Be specific. Second, remove all friction. Have your water ready. Have your notes ready. Go to the bathroom. Do not give yourself any excuse to get up. Third, start the timer. Work for 90 minutes. If you get stuck, stare at the screen. Do not tab out. Wrestle with the problem. Fourth, when the timer goes off, stop. Take a break. Walk around. Stretch. Do not look at your phone during the break. Look out the window. Let your brain cool down. Then repeat. 2 or 3 of these sessions a day will change your life. There is a concept called the dip. It was coined by Seth Godin. The dip is the long slog between starting something new and mastering it. When you first start learning a skill, it is fun. You see quick progress. This is the honeymoon phase. Then you hit the dip. It gets hard. The progress slows down. You feel like you are getting worse. This is where everyone quits. This is the graveyard of dreams. But the dip is actually a filter. It is there to keep the uncommitted people out. If it were easy, everyone would do it, and the skill would have no value. The fact that it is hard is what makes it valuable. When you are in the dip, and you feel like quitting, remember that you are just filtering out your competition. Every day you keep going in the dip, you are leaving thousands of people behind you. The prize is on the other side of the dip. You need to become obsessed. Obsession is a dirty word in our society. People tell you to have balance. Balance is for people who want to be average. If you want to be great, you need to be obsessed. You need to think about your craft when you are in the shower. You need to dream about it. You need to talk about it. During these 6 months, your project is your lover. It is your best friend. It is your God. Give it everything you have. There will be plenty of time for balance later. Right now you are in a season of building. Think about a rocket ship. A rocket ship burns 80% of its fuel just to get off the ground. It takes a massive amount of energy to break the force of gravity. Once it is in orbit, it can glide with very little effort. You are on the launch pad. You are trying to break the gravity of your old life. You are trying to break the gravity of poverty, of mediocrity, of bad habits. It is going to take maximum thrust. You cannot go half throttle. If a rocket goes half throttle, it doesn't go halfway to space. It crashes back to Earth and explodes. You need full throttle, all in. The skill stack you build in these 6 months is your vehicle to freedom. But a vehicle needs a driver. That driver is your mind. And your mind needs to be sharp. We talked about dopamine, but we also need to talk about information input. You are what you read. If you read the news, you will be anxious and uninformed. If you read history, philosophy, and biography, you will be wise and strategic. During your breaks from deep work, read the greats. Read about Napoleon. Read about Rockefeller. Read about Steve Jobs. See how they thought. See how they worked. You are downloading their software into your brain. You are upgrading your operating system. Do not consume junk food content. There is a lot of self-help content that is just mental masturbation. It makes you feel good, but teaches you nothing. Avoid the motivational videos that just scream at you. Look for the technical content. Look for the how-to. Look for the dense lectures. You want content that makes your brain hurt a little bit. That means you are growing. If you are nodding your head and finding it easy, you are not learning. You are just being entertained. There is a powerful technique called the Feynman technique, named after the physicist Richard Feynman. It is a way to learn anything faster. The technique is simple. Pick a concept you're trying to learn. Then try to explain it in simple language, as if you were teaching it to a 5-year-old. If you cannot explain it simply, you do not understand it. You will find gaps in your knowledge. Go back to the source material, fill the gaps, and try again. Use this technique during your deep work. Do not just memorize facts. Understand the principles. When you understand the principles, you can solve any problem. In the next chapter, we are going to shift gears. We have talked about the mind. We have talked about the work. Now we need to talk about the machine that carries the mind. Your body. You cannot have a Ferrari engine in a broken-down Toyota. If your body is weak, your mind will be weak. You need energy to sustain this level of focus. We are going to talk about rebuilding the vessel. We will talk about how to eat, how to sleep, and how to train to maximize your cognitive performance. You are not training to look good on the beach, although that will happen. You are training to be a weapon. But before we go there, I want you to commit to the deep work. I want you to look at your schedule for tomorrow. Block out 4 hours. Mark it in red. That is your sacred time. Tell your family, tell your roommates, do not disturb me during these hours. If there is a fire, call the fire department, don't call me. This is your time. Defend it. Because in that time, you are forging your future. You are taking the raw material of your potential and hammering it into something solid. It is boring. It is lonely. It is hard. And it is the only way out. Get to work. Chapter 4. Rebuilding the vessel. You have spent the last few chapters working on your mind. You have set up the architecture of isolation. You have detoxed your brain from cheap dopamine. You have learned the secrets of deep work and skill stacking. But there is a fatal flaw in your plan if you stop there. You are trying to run a high-performance software on broken hardware. Your mind does not exist in a vacuum. It lives inside a biological machine. It lives inside your body. If your body is weak, your mind will be weak. If your body is toxic, your thoughts will be toxic. You cannot be a mental giant and a physical weakling. It does not work that way. The body and the mind are one system. You cannot separate them. This chapter is about rebuilding the vessel. For the next 6 months, you are not just going to read books and type on a computer. You are going to build a body that commands respect. You are going to build a physical engine that can handle the stress of high achievement. Most people ignore this. They think they can succeed just by being smart. They sit in chairs for 12 hours a day, eating garbage, sleeping 5 hours, and they wonder why they have brain fog. They wonder why they have anxiety. They wonder why they burn out. They are burning out because their vessel is cracking. You are going to seal the cracks. You are going to reinforce the steel. Let us start with the biology of the brain. There is a protein in your brain called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists call it BDNF. You can think of it as fertilizer for your brain. It is a miracle substance. It helps you grow new brain cells. It helps you learn faster. It improves your memory. It protects your brain from aging and depression. Every time you learn something new, you need BDNF to lock that information in. Now, here is the secret. You cannot buy BDNF in a pill. You cannot find it in a supplement. There is only one way to trigger a massive release of this chemical naturally: exercise. When you move your body, particularly when you do intense exercise that gets your heart rate up, your body releases BDNF. This is why you often have your best ideas while you are walking or running. This is why you feel a sense of clarity after a gym session. It is biological. If you are sitting still for 6 months, trying to learn a hard skill, you are making it 10 times harder on yourself. You are trying to plant seeds in dry, hard soil. Exercise turns that soil into fertile ground. It prepares your brain to accept the data. If you skip the workout, you are skipping the upgrade for your brain. We need to change your relationship with physical pain. In the modern world, we are taught to avoid discomfort. If it is too hot, we turn on the air conditioning. If it is too cold, we turn on the heat. If we are hungry, we eat immediately. We have become soft. But greatness is not born in comfort. Greatness is born in the struggle. The gym is your laboratory for struggle. When you walk into the weight room, you are voluntarily choosing to do something hard. You are putting a heavy bar on your back and fighting against gravity. Gravity wants to crush you. You have to fight back. This teaches you something that a book never can. It teaches you that you can survive pain. It teaches you that if you push through the resistance, you get stronger. This mindset transfers directly to your business and your life. When you are doing deep work and it gets hard, the part of your brain that learned to push through the last rep in the squat rack will turn on. It will say, "We have been here before. We know how to struggle. We do not quit." The discipline of the body builds the discipline of the mind. You cannot be disciplined in your work if you are undisciplined with your fork. It is all the same muscle. Let's talk about the visual resume. This is a harsh truth about the world. People judge a book by its cover. You judge books by their covers. We all do. It is human nature. When you walk into a room, before you open your mouth, people have already decided who you are. They look at your posture. They look at your clothes. And they look at your physical fitness. If you are out of shape, if you are sloppy, you are broadcasting a message to the world. You are saying, "I do not respect myself. I do not have discipline. I cannot control my impulses." If you cannot control what you eat, how can I trust you to control a budget? If you cannot manage your own health, how can I trust you to manage a team? This is what people think subconsciously. On the other hand, if you walk in and you are fit, you are broadcasting a different message. You are saying, "I have discipline. I can delay gratification. I respect myself enough to take care of this vessel." A fit body is the only status symbol that you cannot buy. You can buy a Rolex. You can buy a Lamborghini. You can buy a tailored suit. If you have money, you can have those things instantly. But you cannot buy a six-pack. You cannot buy big arms. You cannot buy endurance. You have to earn it. You have to rent it every single day with your sweat. When people see a fit person, they know instantly that this person puts in the work. It commands automatic respect. During your 6 months of disappearance, you are going to change your aesthetic. You are going to shock people. When you re-emerge, you want people to do a double take. You want them to whisper, "Wow, he looks different." This physical transformation serves as proof of your internal transformation. It is the tangible evidence that you have changed. Now let us discuss the fuel, food. Most people treat food as entertainment. They eat because they are bored. They eat because they are sad. They eat to celebrate. They use food as a drug to change how they feel. This is a weakness. You must stop looking at food as pleasure and start looking at it as fuel. Imagine your body as a high-performance race car. Would you pour cheap, dirty sludge into the gas tank of a Ferrari? No. You would put the highest quality fuel you could find. Yet, you put processed sugar, seed oils, and chemicals into your body and expect it to perform at a world-class level. You need to understand the blood sugar roller coaster. When you eat a meal high in simple carbohydrates, like a bagel, a bowl of pasta, or a sugary coffee, your blood sugar spikes. You feel a burst of energy. This is the sugar high, but your body detects this high level of sugar as a threat. It releases a hormone called insulin to pull the sugar out of your blood. The insulin works too well. It crashes your blood sugar down. This is the crash. An hour after lunch, you feel tired. You feel the brain fog rolling in. You want to take a nap. You think this is normal. It is not normal. It is a biological reaction to bad fuel. How can you do deep work if you are crashing every 2 hours? You can't. You are fighting against your own biology. For the next 6 months, you are going to eat for stable energy. You are going to eat whole foods, meat, eggs, vegetables, fruit, nuts, water. That is it. If it comes in a box with a bright logo and a list of ingredients you cannot pronounce, you do not eat it. Real food does not have ingredients. Real food is ingredients. Steak is just steak. An apple is just an apple. I highly recommend you look into intermittent fasting. This is not a diet. It is an eating schedule. You simply narrow your eating window. Maybe you only eat between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. For the other 16 hours, you are fasting. This does incredible things for your focus. When you are in a fasted state, your body is not using energy to digest food. Digestion is an energy-expensive process. When you stop constantly eating, that energy is freed up for your brain. Our ancestors did not eat 3 meals a day plus snacks. They hunted on an empty stomach. They were sharpest when they were hungry. Use this evolutionary advantage. Do your deep work in the morning on an empty stomach, fueled only by water and maybe black coffee. You will find your laser focus is twice as strong. Hydration is another simple factor that people ignore. Your brain is mostly water. If you are even 2% dehydrated, your cognitive function drops significantly. Your reaction time slows down. Your memory gets worse. You get headaches. Most people are chronically dehydrated. They drink coffee, they drink soda, they drink juice, but they rarely drink pure water. Buy a large water bottle. Keep it on your desk. Make it a goal to finish it twice a day. This is the cheapest performance enhancer in the world. Now we must talk about the most important recovery tool you have. Sleep. In our hustle culture, people brag about not sleeping. They say, "I will sleep when I am dead." They say, "I only need 4 hours." These people are idiots. They are driving with the parking brake on. Science has discovered a system in the brain called the glymphatic system. Note the G, glymphatic. This is the waste clearance system of the brain. When you are awake, your brain cells are working hard and they produce metabolic waste. Toxins. Think of it like the trash that piles up in an office building during the workday. The cleaning crew only comes in at night when the building is closed. The glymphatic system only turns on when you are in deep sleep. Your brain cells actually shrink in size to create space for cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and flush out the toxins. If you only sleep 5 or 6 hours, the cleaning crew does not have enough time to finish the job. You wake up with trash still in the hallways. This is why you feel groggy. This is why you are irritable. This is why you make bad decisions. Over time, this waste buildup leads to Alzheimer's and dementia. You need 8 hours. Non-negotiable. You are not lazy for sleeping 8 hours. You are professional. You are preparing your instrument for the next day's performance. You need to protect your sleep like a guard dog. This means sleep hygiene. Your bedroom should be a cave. It should be pitch black. Even a little LED light from a TV or an alarm clock can disrupt your sleep cycle. Tape them over. Get blackout curtains. Temperature matters. Your body needs to cool down to enter deep sleep. Keep your room cool. And the most important rule, no screens 1 hour before bed. The blue light from your phone mimics the sun. It tells your brain it is still daytime. It stops the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone. If you look at your phone until the second you close your eyes, you are destroying your sleep quality. Read a paper book, meditate, stretch. Do anything but look at a screen. Let's get back to the training. What should you actually do? You do not need a complicated routine. You do not need to do backflips or balance on a ball. You need to lift heavy things. Strength training is the foundation. Muscle is the organ of longevity. Having more muscle mass increases your metabolism, protects your joints and regulates your hormones. For men, lifting weights boosts testosterone. Testosterone is the drive hormone. It is what makes you want to conquer. It makes you competitive. It makes you confident. If your testosterone is low because you are sedentary and eating sugar, you will feel passive. You will feel like a victim. We want you to feel like a predator. Focus on the compound movements. These are movements that use multiple muscle groups at once. The squat, the deadlift, the bench press, the overhead press, the pull-up. These 5 movements cover almost everything. If you just got strong at these 5 things over the next 6 months, you would transform your body completely. You don't need to be in the gym for 2 hours. 45 minutes of intense lifting is enough. But it has to be intense. You have to push near failure. If you finish a set and you feel like you could have done 10 more reps, you are wasting your time. You need to give the body a reason to adapt. You should also include some cardio, but do not turn into a hamster. We are not training for a marathon. We are training for efficiency. High-intensity interval training, or sprinting, is powerful. It takes less time and burns fat effectively. Or simply walk. Walking is the most underrated exercise. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. After a heavy, deep work session, go for a 30-minute walk without your phone. Let your eyes scan the horizon. This lateral eye movement actually calms the amygdala, the fear center of the brain. It resets your stress levels. The routine is your safety net. You need to slot this physical training into your day so it becomes automatic. I suggest doing it either first thing in the morning to wake up the system or right after your deep work block to break up the day. Do not leave it for late at night. By the end of the day, your willpower is drained. You will make excuses. You will skip it. Do it when you have the energy. This physical transformation is also about self-image. When you are out of shape, you tend to hide. You wear baggy clothes. You avoid mirrors. You avoid eye contact. You feel small. When you get strong, you take up space. You stand taller. Your posture improves. You look people in the eye. This changes how you interact with the world. You stop apologizing for your existence. You start asserting your value. During these 6 months, you are not just building muscle. You are building a new identity. You are killing the weak version of yourself and building a warrior. There will be days when you feel sore. There will be days when it is raining and you don't want to go to the gym. There will be days when you just want to eat a pizza. These are the test days. The days you feel good are easy. Anyone can work out when they feel energetic. Champions work out when they feel like trash. That is the difference. You are training your override switch. You are teaching your brain that your feelings do not dictate your actions. You feel tired? Too bad, we are lifting anyway. You feel hungry? Too bad, we are fasting until noon. This ability to override your feelings is a superpower. It is what allows you to do the hard things in business and life when everyone else quits. Let's discuss the concept of the 4%. There is a statistic that says only about 4% of the population engages in the recommended amount of physical activity. 96% of people are sedentary. When you commit to this, you are instantly putting yourself in the top 4% of humanity physically. This is a massive competitive advantage. While your competitors are dealing with back pain, low energy, and health issues, you will be operating at peak efficiency. You will have more stamina. You will have more mental resilience. You will outlast them. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. The person with the strongest vessel wins the long game. You also need to understand the connection between inflammation and depression. New science is showing that depression is often an inflammatory response. When you eat bad food and don't move, your body becomes inflamed. This inflammation affects the brain. It causes sickness behavior. You want to isolate, you feel low energy, you feel sad. By cleaning up your diet and exercising, you reduce this inflammation. Many people find that their depression lifts after a few weeks of clean living. I am not saying it cures clinical mental illness, but for many people their low mood is a direct result of their lifestyle. You cannot feel good if you are poisoning yourself. During your 6 months, treat your body like a temple, but also like a fortress. A temple is sacred, a fortress is strong. Be careful what you let in, do not let alcohol in. Alcohol is a poison, it stops fat burning, it disrupts sleep, it lowers testosterone, it increases estrogen, it kills brain cells. There is no place for alcohol in your 6-month disappearance. You need to be sober, you need to be sharp. If you need alcohol to have fun, you are boring. If you need alcohol to relax, you are stressed. Fix the root cause. Don't numb the symptom. You might be thinking, this sounds miserable, no sugar, no alcohol, no parties, working out every day. It sounds miserable to your old self. Your old self is addicted to comfort. But I promise you, after 3 weeks it will not feel miserable, it will feel electric. You will feel a level of natural energy that you haven't felt since you were a child. You will wake up before your alarm. You will feel strong. The food will start to taste better because your palate will reset. An apple will taste like candy. A steak will taste incredible. You will realize that the pleasure you were getting from junk food was actually just addiction. True pleasure comes from a healthy body operating at full power. Let's talk about the post-workout high. This is a real chemical state. Endorphins, anandamide. These are chemicals that your body produces to block pain and create feelings of euphoria. It is a natural high. It is better than any drug because it is earned. It is constructive, not destructive. When you finish a hard workout, you feel like you can conquer the world. This is the state you want to be in when you attack your business goals. Use the energy from the body to fuel the mind. Imagine your body is the vehicle for your soul. If you were going on a cross-country road trip, you would want a reliable car. You would check the tires. You would change the oil. You are on a journey through life. Your body is the only vehicle you get. You cannot trade it in. If you ruin it, you are stuck with it. You have to live in it every second of every day. Make it a nice place to live. Make it a powerful vehicle. The physical transformation gives you momentum. Business growth can be slow. Learning a language can be slow, but physical changes are visible relatively quickly. Within 2 weeks, you feel different. Within 4 weeks, you see changes in the mirror. Within 8 weeks, your clothes fit differently. This constant visual feedback keeps you motivated. It proves that your efforts are working. When you see your abs starting to show, it gives you the confidence to believe that your business will also succeed. It validates the process of hard work. Here is your actionable plan for this chapter. First, clean your kitchen. Throw away the junk. If it is in the house, you will eat it. Do not rely on willpower. Rely on environment design. If there are no cookies, you cannot eat cookies. Second, buy a big water bottle. Third, set a sleep schedule. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. is a classic for a reason. Stick to it. Fourth, pick a gym or a workout space. Go there tomorrow. Do not wait for the perfect plan. Just go and lift something. We are building a machine that is capable of sustaining the massive output required to change your life. You are not doing this to be a fitness model. You are doing this to be a high-performance human. You are doing this to extend your timeline. You want to be successful for 40 years, not 4 years. You don't want to make $1 million and then have a heart attack. You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This is the rebuilding of the vessel. It is a renovation project. You are tearing down the old, weak structure and building a skyscraper of steel and glass. It will be painful. Your muscles will burn. Your lungs will burn. You will be hungry. But on the other side of that pain is a version of you that is unbreakable. A version of you that walks with the stride of a king. A version of you that commands the room without saying a word. The body is the anchor. When the mind drifts, the body holds you steady. When the emotions are chaotic, the routine of the gym grounds you. It is your daily meditation. It is your daily battle. Win the battle with the body, and you will win the war with the mind. Now that we have covered the mind and the body, we have one final piece of the puzzle. You are building all this value. You are becoming a dangerous person, a smart person, a fit person. But eventually the 6 months will end. You will have to open the door. You will have to step back into the world. How do you do that without falling back into the old traps? How do you reintegrate without losing your edge? In the next chapter, we will discuss the re-emergence. We will talk about how to play the game of life with your new cheat codes. We will talk about how to handle the people who want the old you back. We will talk about the shock factor. Get your sleep tonight. Eat clean tomorrow. Lift heavy. Your vessel is waiting to be rebuilt. The work continues. Chapter 5. The Re-emergence. The 6 months are almost over. You have been in the shadows. You have been underground. You have watered the bamboo tree in the dark. You have detoxed your mind. You have sharpened your skills. You have hardened your body. You are now standing at the door, ready to turn the handle and step back out into the light. This is the most dangerous moment. The re-emergence is where many people stumble. They treat the 6 months as a temporary diet. They think, okay, I did the hard work. Now I can go back to normal. If you go back to normal, you will get normal results. You will end up right back where you started. The goal was not to endure 6 months of torture so you could return to your old life. The goal was to kill your old life so you could build a new one. You are biologically a different person now. We talked about neuroplasticity. Your brain has physically changed shape. You have wired new pathways for focus, for discipline, for resilience. You have pruned away the old pathways of addiction and laziness. Your body has changed. You have new muscle tissue. You have a different hormonal profile. You are not the same entity that entered the room 6 months ago. The stranger in the mirror is now you, but the world out there has not changed. The world is exactly the same. The same distractions are waiting. The same toxic friends are waiting. The same crabs are in the bucket. When you step out, you will experience the shock factor. This is a real phenomenon. People have a fixed image of you in their minds. They have a snapshot of who you were 6 months ago. When they see you, that snapshot will not match the reality. They will see the physical change first. You look sharper, your skin is clear, you stand straight. You have lost the bloat. But then they will notice the energy shift. You don't speak the same way, you don't complain about the same petty things. You are not interested in the same gossip. You have a vibration of purpose. Some people will love this new you. They will be inspired. But many will hate it. We have to be honest about this. Your improvement shines a bright light on their stagnation. When they see that you have leveled up, it forces them to realize that they have been standing still. This creates cognitive dissonance in their brains. To resolve this, they might try to bring you down. They might say, "Oh, you think you're better than us now?" They might say, "You've changed. You're not fun anymore." You must be prepared for this. Do not apologize for your growth. Do not shrink yourself to fit back into their small box. You have outgrown the box. You have to accept that you might lose friends. This is the price of elevation. If your friends only liked you when you were a loser, they were not friends with you. They were friends with your failure. It made them feel comfortable. Real friends will applaud your growth. They will ask you how you did it. They will want to join you. This is a filtering mechanism. The re-emergence will show you who is really on your team. You need to gatekeep your energy. You are now a high-value asset. Your time is worth more. Your attention is worth more. Before, you gave your time away to anyone who asked. You said yes to every coffee, every drink, every favor. You were a people pleaser. Now you must be a protector of your potential. You have a mission. You have a project. You have a standard to maintain. You cannot afford to leak energy on things that do not matter. This does not mean you have to be a jerk. It means you have boundaries. No is a complete sentence. You do not need to explain. You do not need to justify. If an activity does not align with your new path, you do not do it. You have tasted the sweetness of deep work and focus. You know how good it feels to be productive. Do not trade that feeling for cheap social approval. You have escaped the matrix of mediocrity. Do not plug yourself back in. You might experience imposter syndrome. You might feel like a fraud. You might think, who am I to be this disciplined person? Deep down, I'm still the lazy kid who played video games. This is your old ego trying to survive. It is the ghost of your past self. You have to realize that identity is fluid. You are what you do repeatedly. If you have spent 6 months working hard, eating clean, and learning, then you are a hard worker. You are a healthy person. You are a learner. The actions define the identity. The feeling will catch up later. Do not wait to feel like the new you. Act like the new you, and the feelings will follow. Let's talk about the infinite game. This is a concept from Simon Sinek. There are finite games and infinite games. A finite game has a clear beginning and end. A football match is a finite game. The 6-month disappearance was a finite game. It had a start date and an end date. But life is an infinite game. There is no finish line. There is no point where you say, I won life. The goal of the infinite game is to keep playing. The goal is to keep growing. The mistake people make is treating the 6 months as a finish line. They think, I made it, now I can relax. No. The 6 months was just boot camp. It was basic training. It was the preparation for the real war. Now the war begins. The war to maintain your standards in a world that wants to corrupt them. The war to build your business. The war to master your craft. You do not stop the habits you built. You adapt them. Maybe you don't stay in total isolation forever. That is not sustainable or healthy in the long run. Humans are social creatures. But you keep the principles. You keep the morning deep work block. You keep the gym routine. You keep the clean diet. But now, you integrate selected social events. You integrate networking with high-level people. You open the gate, but you check the ID of everyone who comes in. You only let in quality. You will have a new kind of confidence. It is not the loud, arrogant confidence of someone trying to prove something. It is the quiet, steady confidence of someone who knows what they are capable of. You know you can suffer. You know you can stick to a plan. You know you can control your mind. This gives you a calmness in chaotic situations. When everyone else is panicking, you will be the rock, because you have spent 6 months forging yourself in the fire. Let's discuss the concept of leveling up your circle. Now that you have upgraded yourself, you need to upgrade your network. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you go back to hanging out with the same 5 people who have no ambition, you will eventually slide back to their level. Gravity is strong. You need to find other people who are on the path. People who are also building, people who are also fit, people who are also reading. Where do you find them? You find them in the places where the work happens. You find them at the gym at 6 a.m. You find them at business seminars. You find them in online communities dedicated to growth. You have to make an effort to curate your social circle. One lion is stronger than a sheep, but a pride of lions is unstoppable. Find your pride. You need people who normalize success. You need people who think $1 million is attainable. You need people who think running a marathon is a standard weekend activity. When being exceptional becomes your normal, you will never settle for average again. The re-emergence is also about launching. You spent 6 months building a skill or a project. Now you must ship it. You must put it out into the world. This is scary. Isolation is safe. No one can judge your work when it is in your drawer. But work has no value until it interacts with the market. You must hit publish. You must launch the website. You must apply for the job. You must make the sales call. You will face rejection. You will face failure. This is part of the game. But remember the Stoic mindset. You cannot control the outcome. You can only control the effort. You put in the effort for 6 months. You did your part. Now let the chips fall where they may. If you fail, you learn. You adjust. You try again. You are high agency now. You do not give up. You find a way. You have the resilience to handle the no. As you step back into the world, you will notice that your perception of time has changed. 6 months used to feel like a long time. Now you realize it is a blink of an eye. But you also realize how much can be done in that blink. You have a new respect for time. You will not tolerate wasting it. When you see people killing time, you will feel a physical revulsion. You know that time is the raw material of life. You have become an alchemist, turning time into value. You are now a dangerous person. And I mean that in the best way possible. A harmless man is not a good man. A harmless man is just weak. A good man is a dangerous man who has his power under voluntary control. You have built power. You have built capacity. You can do things others cannot. You can endure things others cannot. Use this power for good. Build things that help people. Protect those who are weak. Lead by example. The re-emergence is not the end of the book. It is the beginning of your new biography. You have written the prologue. Now you write chapter 1 of your new life. The blank page is in front of you. You have the pen, you have the skills, you have the discipline. Write a story worth reading. Outro, the first day. The clock starts now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not on New Year's Day. Now. The next 6 months of your life are going to pass anyway. The time will vanish. You can stand still and let the time wash over you, leaving you exactly where you are, older, but not better. Or you can grab the time by the throat. You can step into the darkness. You can disappear. You have the blueprint. You know what to do. The knowledge is not the problem anymore. The only variable left is you. Do you have the guts to do it? Do you have the courage to be alone? Do you have the strength to be misunderstood? I think you do, because you are still listening. The weak ones turned this off chapters ago. They went back to the comfort. You are still here. That means there is a spark in you. There is a hunger. Feed that hunger. Close the door. Turn off the phone. Pick up the work. Say goodbye to the person you used to be. They are dead. You are alive. If you are ready to commit to this journey, if you are ready to disappear and evolve, then you are one of us. Join us at Williams Audiobooks. We are building a library for the obsessed. We are building a sanctuary for the focused. Click that button to stay with us. We will be here when you re-emerge. Now, go, disappear, and do not come back until you are changed.